Hello, TCI family, Jonathan's Refuge, and all of our faithful followers from around the globe. Yes, I'm supporting one of my favorite teams in the world. Which way do I move on the can? There we go. The Texas Rangers jersey. Big Texas Rangers fan. 2023 World Series champs. Just want to throw that out there. Um, tonight, as we are wrapping up a couple weeks in a theme. The last few weeks we've been talking about change, how we change as a human. I went through the process of explaining that as humans, about every decade we seem to make a change in our life, from being an adolescent to a teenager, from the teenager, 12, 13 until they're in their early 20s, 22, 23. Then they become an adult. I don't care what the legal age is, but then that's when they start to really go, okay, I'm becoming an adult. And then that first decade is them becoming that adult. And then that's three. That right there is a total of 3 decades. And then they have their families. So they've gotten married, they've got kids, or they chose not to get married and they just chose to put it onto a career. So now they got that phase, that decade. So again, we all have these transitions. You become a grandparent. There's a phase. There's a transition, and everything has changes. And then you have to look back on yourself. You have to study your own history. If you don't study your own history, you're bound to repeat it. And so as I look back at how I see myself, you have to really give yourself a true rating. One of the things my mentors do is they eliminate any of the BS. Yeah, I never get a call them and be like, "Yeah, you don't know my partner is not this or my company's not that," or this slap me. What's your problem? What'd you screw up? What'd you make the mistake on? And how can you fix it so you don't do it again? End of story, man. Get right to it. Forget all the nice meet and greet stuff. Get down to the meat of the potatoes. And so let's make change. But change isn't easy. So I'm looking back and now I'm realizing, wow, I saw myself as amazing. By some standards I was, and by others I wasn't. So I can't I can't change that. That's past, right? That's correct. So why am I looking at it? Because I'm trying to make sure that I don't repeat it. Study your history so that you won't repeat it. Study others' history. Study our country's history. Study the earth's history. Study Roman history. Study the history so you don't repeat it. So I'm studying my own history, and it's sometimes not fun to get in there because you got to realize, oh, this needs to change. So I've been modeling this for our church as the bishop to make sure people are seen in the living example, not just some book that's been around for thousands of years. Here's a human being that owns companies and is a spiritual leader and has a family and has been divorced and has been to prison and has committed some brutal acts in his world that I've lived through and been committed to me and all that. I'm a normal person. And I want you to see this transition happens to all of us. And then as I transition through this, how do you get through it? The faster you can get through it, that's the key. How do you transition? That's easy. How do you do it? Fast or slow is up to you. And so getting through it faster seems to be easier. Doesn't mean you got to do it all at once. Actually, it's the contrary. Focus on one thing. For me, just doing one thing and then doing it right multiple times, it becomes a habit. Problem put, it's in the back. I don't have to do it anymore. I don't have to say, hey, JB, don't forget you got to go around and open the door for your wife, or you got to go around and get the door for your wife because she's coming out of the car. Nope, it just is so in it's in my DNA, so I don't have to think about it. And that's what a habit is. You make a habit, a good habit. You make poor habits. I remember when I smoked cigarettes. It's a habit. It's my habit. Got me cancer. Not fun. So quit the habit, made a new habit. And so it's all about habits. So when you're transitioning in your life and you're becoming a nicer person or a kinder person or a softer person, or maybe you got to get into becoming a tougher person, a harder person. Maybe you've just taken on a job that's a pretty rough and tumble job. That doesn't mean you can't soften up as a human. You might have to toughen up in your job as a police officer, but you got to definitely soften up at home and with your family and friends. And so there's different phases, and everyone's in different spots. Right? I'm 49. I'm in a spot, and there's others that are in a spot, and there's others here. And at the very top, they're the ones that are done. At the very bottom, they're the ones that are just coming in this world. They came in with nothing on their keister, and they're going out with nothing on their keister. It's the same story, okay? So you're in different spots, I'm in different spots, and we're just trying to get through it. And that's why you study other histories of other successful people. And that's why I follow people who are successful. I also look at people who have failed, and I watch how they failed. I don't want to fail like them. I want to be a success. So I like to watch successes, and I like to watch failures. I focus more on the successes, but it's good to keep an eye on what the failures could have been and how they avoided them. And that's important. Someone says, well, that's looking into the negative. No, it's not. It's what the smartest people do. It's about preparing. If you think you're going to have just this beautiful roller coaster ride of everything just going forward and up like that in this world positively, I'm here to tell you, you're going to hit walls the rest of your life. They're never going to stop. And someone once said to me, well, yeah, but they get easier, the walls, lighter, smaller. No, they get bigger, thicker, and harder. And they usually you're coming at them even faster. And you're like, well, wait a second. That don't sound fun. It's not. But here's what happens. You hit it. You have knowledge. You now have experience. Now you take that experience and that knowledge and try to prepare for if it happens again. Is it going to be your focus? No. Your focus is to succeed, to build this company, to build your relationship, to overcome your addiction, or whatever that goal is. But you got to remember, this happened because I did this and this. So I'm not going to do this and this anymore. And then I'm going to keep my eye out for any new kind of habits that could get this to happen because I don't want to smack that wall. And if you do that right, you actually smack the wall less, but you're still going to smack walls. I still hit walls all the time. They don't get easier. You just get a little stronger if you choose to, because sometimes people hit that wall and they clock out. I have very dear friends of mine. You know, the doctors they want me all the time to clock out. So the medical profession has advised me with my health conditions to sit on the couch, wake up, have breakfast, get up, go take a walk in the neighborhood, come home, hang out, watch some shows, call some friends, go run some errands. Nothing crazy, stay off the traffic. Come home, have lunch, take a nap. Get up, have dinner, do your evening routine, watch a couple movies, and go to sleep. They don't want me doing high altitude mountains. They don't want me out there, doing all kinds of anything that exasperates my heart. They don't want me doing anything to push any of that because I'm a high stroke risk, high cardiovascular risk, congestive heart. They don't want me doing anything. Okay, you got the point. They want me to sit in a box and do nothing for the rest of my life. And I know people who do that, and they check out fast. They die quick. They age fast. Have you seen people? You're like, oh my God, I haven't seen that guy in 10 years. Look what happened to him. They fell apart. I spent a huge portion of my career in sales in the vacation industry. People that aged best traveled on vacations. They had a goal. They had something to look forward to every year, something to keep them moving. Their body said, I got to keep these body and bones moving and grooving so that we can keep on going because we got a vacation. Same thing. You ever seen someone who's worked a job for 50 years and they retire and then within a month they're dead? They literally woke up like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with myself. I have no purpose. I've watched every show that I thought I could watch, and I've just spent the last 2 years in this what they call retirement. And they die. They just go to sleep and die because there's nothing in life to keep them going. I'm not that person. And I like to live life to its fullest. Trust me, I will die. We are all leaving this world. We're not leaving it on our feet. And so I know that time will come. They say sooner, I tell them later. I could care less. I don't care. I suffer. I use the pain to push me so that I can push harder, to try to succeed, to make more people in this world a little happier, a little more joy in their life. provide a shelter through our men's homes of hope, provide a program that allows them to get off of drugs and crime and all of these things and get into the world and get into work, finding them jobs, having caseworkers and case managers through our nonprofits, pastors and bishops in our organization, to have all of these outlets so that our world can change. My blood pressure is always through the roof. If I told you, you probably all would say, please stop doing anything. I think it was like 216 over 150. I'm on a lot of medications. There's nothing else they can do. It's just life. That's cool. What are you going to do about it? I'm not going to check out. I'm going to push through. I'm going to keep changing and being better. See, I'm only 49. I don't care if I've got health problems of a 90-year-old. That doesn't matter to me. I don't care if I spend the next 50 years in and out of the hospital. It is what it is. I'm alive. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to be kicking and fighting longer than anybody. But when that day finally comes, there's a new transition. And so all the way until then, and then that just ends this phase. Now we go into a spiritual transition, which is going to be amazing. It's a whole other story. So I want to touch you this week in your heart to not be so like overwhelmed. Man, we're talking about changing ourselves, becoming real men, real women, people of our word, men and women of our word. We're talking about changing inside and the struggle that's within you. As a man, you're trying to figure out how to be that provider in people's lives, that beacon of hope, that person that we look to and say but then you do that and you provide that. And sometimes you don't have an outlet because you think you can't find a way out. And if it's a struggle and you want to be a good man, a do what you should man, like the song says. And so I want you to hear that change is not easy, but you've got to make it. I have a friend who, he was a grumpier person, and he's not as grumpy as he was. I could say it's all me. Did he change since I've known him? Yes. It's not me. I am me, and I keep a positive life outlook and model it. But it's the person that decided to say, I need to make that change, and that's him. So these people in our lives see us, and they say, I want to be a little better. I need to be. And they make a change. And it's not easy. It's not comfortable. But what you do is you just pick that one habit. I give you an example of something I do with my wife here. I asked her one day if we can do this little habit every night before we go to sleep. And if you fall asleep, you got to wake the other person up. And if you think you ain't going to wake up, you got to call them, text them. We have two residents. We have the house and we got a boat, second residence there. And so sometimes we're off. She's out visiting her kids, and our grandchildren and our children. And I'm over here working and vice versa. I'm in the mountains and she's staying here. So no matter what and where you at, just do this one thing every night. Tell the other person what specifically about them that was the most special thing for you that day. Yesterday we were talking. Lately we're working. We've all been planning to get another dog, a therapy dog at our therapy firm. And so Belle, announcing hello world, Belle is going to get a male. We're getting a male puppy, a white German Shepherd from the same breeder, the top of the world breeder. And so we've been discussing and working out details, and it's next year, middle of the year sometime. But as we were getting it ready, I was on the boat because we had a big storm, and we got to make sure that certain things in the boat don't, break. And it's not about me having fun riding out the storm, which is awesome. Okay, so I was out working on the boat. And then I got home, and as I came in, she greeted me like every time, circles, and she's running around, and all of a sudden she's just going excited. And then, she stopped, we get her to calm down. And then Cece looked at me and she said, yeah, me and Belle had a conversation last night. And I'm like, oh, okay, what y'all's conversation be? And she tells me, she goes, I let her know we're going to have a little buddy for you, and you got to raise him. We're getting a little boy. Now, it was the way my wife said it. It was just something in her eye, and it's something that me and her do together, one of our things that we enjoy. I mean, I enjoy mountaineering. She's not so much. She likes the mountains, but the hikes, the trails, not the big, huge mountaineering stuff where you out living your, clothes for 6 weeks. That's my thing. But this is one of our things. And so Belle, seeing her face, it was just like lit up. So that's last night. That was my thing, And if you do that every day, and when I started it, I think we missed it 2 or 3 times in the first week. Like, oh man, you forgot to. No, man, you both forgot. It's okay. So you do that until it's consistent, and then you've created a habit. They say if you do something this every day for 21 days, it becomes a habit. I actually disagree with that. I really do. I actually think that doing something for 3 weeks gives you a good start. If you really want to make something a habit, do it for 90 days. So set your goal not for 21. Set your goal for 90 days. It's not that big of a deal, man. 90 days is nothing. So take 90 days, put it on plan it out, call family and friends, let them know, hey, for 90 days. And so you're going to change this thing in your life. You're going to not swear. You're going to quit smoking. And you go, well, yeah, but I've done this before. And I tell people I'm going to change. Well, then don't tell people you're going to change. Just tell people you need to be left alone for a period of time, whatever that is. If you're out trying to walk, then don't tell them what you're doing. Just say, I need some time for meditation or some personal time. And then go do all your walking every day. And then no one, for those 2 hours, they leave you alone. Don't know what you're doing. And you're able to get out there and change yourself and fix yourself. So lay down the rules so that you've got it so you can make your changes and put those good habits in place. See, the habits are the key. If you look at successful people, it's habits. When people ask me, how do you become wealthy? How do you run businesses like this? How do you get money? How do you have people that come to you like that? It's easy. It's a system. I actually can pick up a book that I have and I can show them. It's a model. And when they say, well, how do you know how to pick this person or that person? There's a system. There's a model. It's the one that I've had for 49 years and I keep working on it. Keep changing it, keep modifying it, keep making it a little better. Sometimes I make it a little worse, have to go back and then go back to some old things and then make it a little better again. And so these are habits. And you've got to get used to these changes in your life. Because if you think, oh, my kids are gone, they're out of the house. Man, my kids have been long gone. And guess what? You got changes. You're not the dad. That dad where you can make a foundation for him is gone and over with. I can't do that. My sons, one of them's in prison. Or in jail on murder charges. Can't fix the life. It passed, is done. Breaks my heart. But I can make the changes, which I did, and became a good man, a better father, someone who cared about other people because I was chasing the dollar and I didn't care about my family. And I really didn't. I said it was all about them, but it wasn't. It was about me. And so I chased the Ferrari and the millions of dollars and the lifestyle that came with it. And they suffered. Now, that's not easy to, when you looked at yourself as, well, I provided really well and this and that, and there's great life experiences and stories and all these things. You can pump up anything, okay? I mean, good Lord, even Joe Biden said he did a great job. Anybody can say they do a good job. But what's the truth? The actions, the numbers. The numbers don't lie. And so when you look at change, that's the part where you got to get real with you and you got to change. So I decided to change. And then I realized it's not just changing. You also got to go back and reevaluate and see and I really wasn't that great of a father. So I had to say, oh my gosh, I need to change so that I can't go change that. But what I can do is making sure as I go forward in life, all the men that I am a leader to, a spiritual father to, I can lay down the foundation for them. It's a proper foundation to make sure they don't make the same mistakes I did. That's how you make change, real change. So it's not just changing so that I change so that I can be a good man. That's great. I'm a good man. That's good. It is. But now you got to go a step further. And you need to lead other people to becoming a good man. And you do that not by this, by walking it, by your actions. If I didn't adore and love my wife, I know this is gross to talk about. But I have never passed gas in front of her, and I never will. Because I love her. This is just a thing that I have. I have the ability to, it takes years to be able to get up, walk to another room, go to a bathroom, go outside, so that my wife doesn't have to do that because I love her. I've never done that for anyone else. I now don't do it to anybody. I don't pass gas to anyone because I wanted to change. I didn't want to be like the old guy who just didn't care and passed gas whenever he wanted. I don't care. It's a bodily function. Go to the White House. I dare any of you to say that. And then go to the White House. Stand there in front of your favorite president throughout time. Pick the one you love the most. Go stand in front of your mom. Bring her back from the dead. And then just let one rip and say, that's okay. No, you wouldn't do it. Show respect to what you love. So if you love something, you'll show respect to it. That's just one example. You got to do more than that. I'm just giving you a simple example of creating good habits and what you need to do with those habits to help you make those changes. And then you take and help others by showing them a path. And so that's what this whole last few weeks messages have been about, is giving you that path. So as we close tonight, let's remember to coexist. And as we change, we have to coexist with not just the world and everyone around us, but get this. You need to coexist with you from the past, with the you from the now, because everything that you were back then, the monsters and the mean people and the evil people and whatever it was, those people, that you, is what made you who you are now. So you need to reconcile that and coexist with that and understand it, and then help lead others out of making the same mistakes you've made. I love you guys. God bless you. I can't wait to see you all again. Happy Thanksgiving. It's coming next week. We won't be having church in Marysville that night. Most of the people are all going to be with family and friends. So the churches, we're going to be doing a simple thing together as a group for a couple of us out in the mountains. And we'll get video and do a message from the mountains for next week's service. But we love you all. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Spend that time with your family. And remember, family is not blood. If you think family is only defined by blood, you are really lost in this world. I have a lot of blood relatives. I speak to none of them and could care less if I ever did. I have one cousin that I love the living tar out of, and that's it. The rest of them can all disappear and do what they need to. But I have some of the greatest family in the world. I got 3 brothers that would run through walls for me. That's my family. And I've got a wife that would beat anybody up, including me from time to time, but would beat anybody up if they came at me. I got people that will run through walls. And those family that I have, I chose them. I wasn't just born into them. I chose them. That makes them more special of a family. I have a young man that calls me Papa Rev. That's my spiritual son. That's more. I chose him. He chose me. We chose each other. All right, guys. God bless. Coexist with yourselves.